Hey everybody, welcome back to the stream. I'm joined tonight by my beautiful, wonderful wife, Kimmy.
Hello.
And also my beautiful, wonderful friend, Daniel.
Hey.
It's that special spook time of year, so probably going to draw some Halloween related things. I'm not exactly sure what, but I'm guessing it's going to be... I'm kind of thinking I want to do the pumpkin witch that Axel's going to be this year. Our kid's going to dress up.
Might Very good idea.
That'd be fun.
It's a great idea.
His original idea.
Yeah, because he's all into making stuff, so... He actually combined things. Pumpkin Witch was his original. So let's sketch that up. I've already done a drawing of it in the sketchbook, but yeah, let's do a rendered one. Or maybe even just like an inked one.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Yeah, we'll do Mousetrap for Halloween.
Absolutely.
It's a tradition. We gotta put on scary music. As always, if anybody has any questions or really anything at all you want to ask, feel free to drop it in the chat. In the meantime, we're just going to hang out and talk with you all and see how you're doing. Bella bella.
Quick little announcement. Dan is going to be doing the streams that he talked about on the Twitch channel. So if you want to get notified, make sure that you subscribe to the Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Steve
What's the
Lichman.
name? Steve Lichman on Twitch.
Is it Steve Lichman or Acceptable Comics?
It's Steve Lichman. That's the actual username.
Got it.
We like started our Twitch because we were doing didn't we start like it because of the Steve books? Because it was originally Steve Lichman.
I think so. I can't remember what the link is. Maybe it is Steve Lichman. But yeah, I'm doing it on there. I tried to do a stream when I got back from New Hampshire, everybody, but I need my new computer, which is in the mail right now. But
right.
I tried to stream, and I'm on an iMac I've had for the past like 8 years, and I loaded up Photoshop and tried to stream with OBS, and it crashed. So yeah, once that's all set up, I'll be live.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
I'll
a couple
hop
people
on
were
that.
asking last time, so I just want to make sure I put that out there before I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Dan's gonna be streaming, I'll jump in if because normally I don't stream during the day because I'm just working on stuff. But if I don't have to share my screen, then I can jump on and talk.
Yeah. So that'll be starting soon. Just waiting for my new dumb expensive computer to show up. It's gonna be good though. Those new computers have so much RAM that I feel like they're just gonna last forever.
Well, the cool thing, Dan's talking specifically about the new M1, M2 computers. He's getting an M2 Studio. But the cool thing about those is even if it doesn't seem like it has a ton of like RAM compared to some other computers, the way that it uses the RAM is really good. So I'm not super smart with this, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. I might be totally wrong. But anyway, they have like this new way that like they use the memory or whatever in your computer, and it's just more efficient. So even if it seems like less, like my laptop right now I think is 64 gigs of RAM, it does not feel like 64 gigs of RAM. It feels way faster than that.
Well, this
It's
M2
pretty
box
shocking.
is 196 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's
So
I think you're gonna be fine for
Yeah.
a while. Like I can't imagine, like that's the reason. Like I know that I told you this I think on the phone, but like their M2 ones weren't as successful because the M1s were so good. They like didn't actually need it.
yeah, they didn't need it,
So these computers are pretty awesome.
which is really funny that that's the problem they had.
Yeah.
Product's too good. Gotta make a worse product, guys.
Yeah, they made it too good. But
Just one
I have the studio and I haven't even like really needed to use it.
That feels like an I think you should leave thing. It's just one product. It's too damn good.
We got a
You want to know
problem.
what?
Too damn good.
It's too damn good.
You know, I don't know if you saw Axel do this, Dan, but he does a thing that we feel like is also like a skit from I Think You Should Leave. And he like will mix sauces, and he's very proud of himself for cooking and like coming up with new flavors and stuff. But he just mixed like honey mustard and ketchup, and he's like, I've never had a sauce like this before. And he just won't stop saying that the entire time we're
I've never
eating.
had a sauce like this. Have you ever had a sauce
Have
like
you
this before?
ever had a sauce like this?
I love that.
Have you ever had a sauce like this?
That
This
delivery
sauce
is
so
like
good.
the delivery is so like Capcom, like something a character would say in one of those fucking cooking games. Never had a sauce like this.
Yeah, he
And
does
he
this
just
Wow.
fake
say-
version of his voice every time. Like his fake version of his voice is very funny, where he gets like, you know, when a kid is like really excited about something. Like think back to like a video game coming out when you're a kid, and like you want to tell your parents about it. You know, they don't really care that much, but you're like, this like, yeah, the story's just, it's actually really good. Like you start using like a different voice because you're excited.
The game show voice.
Yeah, it's that energy. It's very funny.
And and then he's like, "You gotta try this. You want to try this?" And he offers everybody at the table, "You should taste this. It's really good. You've never had a sauce like this. I've never had a sauce like this."
Talking to my dad about Star Fox, and I'm like, and with Rumble Pack action, you feel like you're in control of the flight. And it's like, no,
Exactly.
stop that.
I used to do that stuff all the time with my dad. Just be like, oh man, but really, the story that goes on in Chrono Trigger, it's actually pretty good. Like I've read a lot of books. This is up
I
there
know
with that.
story is dead. And this
This is
one,
like true fiction, honestly. This is up there
Yeah.
with the best.
the take me seriously voice is a very funny thing.
Yeah, take me seriously, little kid
Honestly,
voice.
Yeah. There's a couple things that he does that's like that feels like a skit. It feels like
oh
it
man,
feels like it's in I Think You Should Leave.
I've never had a sauce like this. I can see him saying that.
And then
What is
explaining
this?
it.
It's too
Yeah, like-
good.
What he does say that. He says, "What is this?" And we're like, "You made it. You tell us." He goes, "All I did was mix this sauce and this sauce. That's all I did."
That's all I did. Yeah, they're
I
repeating
know,
it as
we
very
saw.
specifically. I think you should leave. They're constant repeating it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
All I did was this. That's all I
Yeah, it's like-
did.
Oh, you
We
gotta
know.
try this.
We saw. You gotta try this is the best part.
You gotta try this. That's very funny.
I've never had this before.
Did the Kamen Rider mask survive the flight?
Yes,
They
they
did.
did.
Except
Alright,
for they were fighting over them today, and they broke the
Uh-oh.
strings off of it, so I
That
have
was
to
gonna happen.
rethread it and tie it on.
Yeah, that was always gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely. And we haven't figured out how to open the backs of them to put the battery in there yet.
It was on the boxes somewhere. I'm assuming the boxes got thrown away. I can figure it out online.
I
Well, but
looked at
it's
the
like-
boxes. There's nothing. I mean, unless you can speak, read Japanese.
I thought it just
Yeah.
had like pictures that showed how to do it.
It's a specific tool
No, but
that we
it's-
don't have.
Yeah, it's this type of
Oh.
screw that's not just like a regular screw. Like we see where it opens. We don't have that Japanese screwdriver.
Can you please go to whatever Chinatown is in Denver with the box and have them read the Kamen Rider belt instructions?
We did throw it away.
That would have been so funny if you went in asking for help with that, of all things.
I feel like they wouldn't care. Like the little place that we go to, when we got all the decorations for my mom's party.
Yeah.
They have like tons of like tchotchkes and toys and stuff, so I don't think it would be that weird, honestly.
Really need help with something.
Except for it's like all Vietnamese and like Chinese. It's not Japanese, so I don't think they'd be able to help.
I need help translating a document. Oh, sure. What is it? Kamen Rider Power Belt.
It's ancient text.
We were walking our last day. We walked by like a sushi restaurant, and there's like a big sign out, and looks like, "Hey, those are Japanese words." And I was like, "That's so weird because you can't even read English."
It's either a very lucky guess or a very smart boy.
No, it's not a lucky guess.
No, he knew.
Goes,
he totally knew.
goes, oh, it's just Japanese letters. And he goes, and Japanese fights.
Yeah.
Because that's what he calls anything that has, like, any Kamen Rider or whatever. Anything in, like, a Jackie Chan movie, even though he's not Japanese.
That's
it. Japanese fights. That's his, like,
Did you hear
#1.
him saying that? He goes, when he had the Kamen Rider mask on, he was going, Japanese fight. Japanese fight. That's what he
That's
said.
really funny. That's really, really funny.
That's his like action words.
Japanese fight. I
Yeah,
love that.
Imagine a little baby voice going, Papa, can we do Japanese fights?
And you go, son, we can.
I go, absolutely. Just don't tell anybody that we do Japanese fights.
Never let anyone see you do the moves I teach you here today. They won't understand.
Did you tell Dan about? I can't say it on stream, but did you tell Dan about what Axel told you last night? Okay.
And yes, you can't say that on stream. That was a wild roller coaster. I was not ready for that. I was like, oh, Axel said something cute. What? I was like, what? Yeah, that was... Ooh.
Dude, sometimes he says fucking underneath his breath.
Hell yeah.
Just like,
he's just making sounds. Like he also goes like bucka bat. He does that all the time.
I love it.
So he's just like making sounds underneath his breath.
I
Yeah, and so he goes.
love it. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So this is a little pumpkin witch.
Pretty good.
Cute. I like the pose that you did. It's different than the one you drew.
So chat, today I got a call from an unknown number, and I said, I think I know who this is. I picked it up. It was a girl I dated a few months ago that I broke up with, who's not very good with boundaries. And she goes, Dan? And I'm like, yeah. Can I ask a favor? And I go, what's up? He says, me and my cousin, we're going to get BBLs, and we wanted to know if we could use your third floor of your house to recover. It's only like 2 weeks recovery. And I said, I don't think I can do that. She went, oh, come on. It's just, we'd only need the third floor. Just you have all those couches in the house, and we don't have any couches. And, like, we're not going to be able to get up and take care of ourselves. So, like, at least we could, like, take care of each other. And I was like, I don't think I can go for that. She goes, you don't want to see our BBLs? We're going to be so hot. And I go, I think that's a pretty bad idea. She goes, but I miss my Dan. And I go, okay. I'm okay. I gotta go.
You gotta see the BBLs, Dan.
Who the fuck is like, yo man, what's up? Can I shack up in your house while I recover from my BBL surgery?
It's so insane.
Oh.
I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Also,
you barely even use your third floor. Just let me in. Just let me use it.
Chad, I'm not wrong, right? That's like a $20,000 surgery, right?
What,
Like
BBLs?
15, like 15,000 at least, right?
What if you're going to Panama?
It depends. Like, I have friends who've gotten their boobs done for like 7, and it was good and professional.
Jeez.
So it just depends. Depends on how
Ah.
how much they need to get done too.
I mean,
How
I've
much
had
lipo
BBLs
and-
for less.
Mm.
I've seen BBLs for less than that. You can get them dime a dozen down at the docks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh,
I'll hold your horses there.
what's the market value?
20,000 steep. I could BBL you for 15.
You could BBL me.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll
Kim,
BBL you on the deal.
So my cousin's here, Kim. I was telling you, we went down to Plymouth, and she was like, "I really want a lobster roll. It's like the one New England thing I haven't done."
Oh my god, I saw it and I was so mad because that's one thing I didn't eat when we were there. I saw it on your Instagram story and I was like, "What the fuck? What was I thinking?"
Let me tell you.
Blacked my screen, by the way.
Before you feel bad, let me tell you, we got the lobster roll, and she was like, "Yeah, how much is that?" And they were like, "Oh, market value."
Oh no.
Guess how much it was?
For the lobster roll, was it like $50 or something stupid?
It was like 40.
Jesus Christ, for a sandwich?
So we got a lobster roll plate, and then just some scallops and like a little thing of chowder, and it was like $70.
God dang.
It's like, whoa. Like, I don't care. I mean, like, I'm used to
Crazy.
that with Plymouth. Like, it's fine. But it's like, it was so
You
funny.
guys
She was
were in
like, I did not
Plymouth
think it
and
was going to be
cost
that much. Huh?
You guys were in Plymouth and it cost that much?
It costs that much everywhere. Whenever it says market value, it's just whatever the fuck they want. It's just
Yeah,
just
of
whatever
course.
they want it to be.
Yeah,
Like,
but I was
I'm
just
not like
because we
complaining.
were
I
in
just thought it was
Boston.
funny.
We were in Boston and like I was thinking it was a fleeting thought of like I want that. I
Did
want
you
a
see
lobster
the lobster roll billboards in Boston?
roll. No, I don't think I did.
It was like finest lobster roll shipped to you. For some reason, they put those billboards up, and they're so stupid.
What shipped to you?
Shipped to you, and it's just like a giant photo of a lobster roll, and it's like, we deliver.
Weird.
Shipped to your house, finest lobster rolls. Like, why?
We actually have a decent lobster roll place here in Denver. However, it's so expensive. Of course.
I knew
You know?
you were gonna want that lobster roll. It's the only reason I brought it up.
Oh shit.
It's all good.
I'm mad I didn't get a lobster roll while we were in the East Coast. That's alright. I don't need it. I was so sick that last, what is it, like second to last day?
Also, I saw your story. You told me you were sick. What's the car accident?
Oh, you didn't know?
No, you guys didn't tell me anything about that. You just said you got sick.
Oh, right.
You never mentioned an accident.
So when we were leaving New Hampshire, we were driving, we just were like, okay, let's stop in Lincoln and get some coffee.
Yeah.
We literally just got onto the main street and it was like already all the traffic going to like Kangamangas, right?
Yeah.
And
To fill everybody
it
in.
was like,
That's the highway that goes through all of the changing foliage in New Hampshire. It goes through this place called Lincoln, New Hampshire. Everybody drives up there and then drives through the Kangamangas Highway to get views and, scenic picture stuff. Yeah, it's a crazy amount of cars come up for the weekends.
so it was already like, their main street was like already packed. And we like, as soon as we exited, we were basically stopped, like right there.
Yeah.
And there was like cars in front of us stopped, cars behind it, one car behind us stopped, and this girl came out of nowhere flying down Main Street. Like, even if she was merging from the highway, whatever she was doing, like there's no reason for her to be going that fast.
Yeah.
And rear-ended this car behind us, and that car hit us, but luckily they were stopped, so we were the only car that was able to drive away.
Wow.
The other
Yeah, we
the other
got
two cars
really
had to be
lucky.
towed.
Jeez.
They got effed up, dude.
So your rental insurance covered it though?
Well, her insurance would be liable since she's liable, so her insurance will have to cover it. And I just reported it, and we did the police report, and it's like it's just a headache,
What
Luckily,
a
we were safe. Oh my god, it was so stupid. And then the girl in the middle, and like the girl in the middle came out hot, dude. She came
I
out
bet.
like basically swinging. So the main girl who hit the car, like the one who caused the accident,
Mm.
She put her car in park and left it in the middle of Main Street,
Of course.
smoking
Yeah.
and leaking fluid, and
Uh-huh.
got out, her and the two guys in the car, and she threw herself on the grass and just started bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, I get it, it's scary, but like, it was so dramatic.
I mean, isn't that what she's
So
supposed to do? Isn't she supposed to leave it where it got hit for the cops?
Yeah, but she left it running while
Mm.
it was like smoking.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
It's
I
not
see what
very
you're saying.
smart.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And no, not necessarily. You're not supposed to leave it to be like, I mean, really, it wasn't drivable. If you could move out of the way, you're supposed to move out of the way. So like whether it's pulling into a parking lot, pulling off to the shoulder, whatever it is, if you get in an accident, you're not supposed to just be like, okay, I guess I'm just stuck here. Like unless you can't drive it. And then so that was a whole thing, and she's like crying on the sidewalk, and the girl in the middle comes out and she's like yelling at this other girl, and she's like, why didn't you stop? Why didn't you stop?
Great.
I was just like, this is not helping.
Very productive.
And I told Dave, I was like, okay, just stay here. Like, I'm just gonna make sure everyone's okay, and then we'll start collecting everyone's information.
Yeah.
So I just like walked over because I was driving, and I was like, hey, I'm a nurse, are you okay? And this lady who was consoling her, this passerby, this person who just happened to be there in the parking lot,
Yeah.
she saw the accident happen, and she was like comforting her, and she tried to put her hand out to stop me as if like I was rubbernecking or whatever.
Whoa.
I was
Great.
in the accident. Just because I'm
Great.
not flailing and crying, I was in the accident too, you dumb pumpkin witch.
You should have
And-
screamed and been like, I'm a nurse. Ah.
Yeah, and I'm like, and what are you guys doing? You're not helping. I'm a nurse. I can actually help her.
Man.
And then, so there's like, she just had a cut on her leg. She's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, I just want you to know, I have 2 small kids in the car. They are okay. Luckily, they are okay.
Yeah, you're crying more than that.
And yeah, I'm like, we have more going on in that sense, you know? Like,
Yeah.
2 precious young babies because you weren't paying attention. And then there was another guy who, he was in the back seat, and he was like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, your mouth is bleeding, so why don't you go check that out? And he's like, oh yeah, like I'm good because I was in an accident like just last week and I'm still concussed from that. And I'm like, who are you guys? Why are you guys getting this many accidents?
That's
Who's
amazing.
fucking driving?
That's
the fuck
really
going
that's
on?
really good. Hey man, how's your
I know,
weekend?
right?
Bro, it was pretty good, you know. Went up to Lincoln, did the Kangamangas, got in like 4 or 5 car accidents, you know. Pretty basic New England weekend, you know. Got some pretty good numbers. Got like 4
Oh.
collisions.
Yeah.
I'd say I was at fault
Like
for pretty
what?
much all of them, you know. Pretty basic.
Stupid.
All in
Yeah,
all,
I'm
pretty
really
clutch
slightly
season, you
concussed.
know. Hoping to get 7 or 8 next year, get the numbers up.
It's so crazy.
I
So you have
I
one
like the
girl
logic of it's actually cool.
yelling.
I was just in an accident.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's all good.
concussions don't compound on each other. Like you can't get a CTE from prior shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all good.
That's
Oh,
really,
I'm
really
bleeding?
dumb.
Oh shit, I'm bleeding? Dope.
That's really good.
It was so stupid, Dan.
Yeah, that sounds like complete bullshit. Were the kids excited at least? Were they like, Mama, we got in an accident? Were they like into it?
No, I
They
don't
didn't really
know.
care.
Something came over me and I like screamed when it happened, even though it wasn't that big of a
Sure, well, yeah, it's scary. Yeah.
it was just a really loud noise, and I went, ah! And then they were like, what was that? And then I was like, oh, like, we just got hit. And
Jeez.
it's so funny because that was like the only real reaction that I had. And then I was the only one who was calm. I was just like, okay, what's your name? I'm like taking down information. The cop comes to the scene and he's like shaking because I'm pretty sure he just got like,
The cop
I
was
don't know, he
really
just-
funny. That was like such a
He-
weird reaction because like Kim and I were actually talking about how like we both thankfully we're both the same kind of person where whenever something bad happens, we get like super calm.
Sure.
Like that's usually like our reaction. So like
You get like
after
overly
we
calm,
got
like almost like serial killer calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're both like that, and just we're both like unfazed at when we're talking to the cop about the accident, but he's just like shaking. And it was making me like I was trying to figure out why he was like. He also this is something funny. It's because it was an accident. I wasn't thinking about like anything else. I was just like, oh, we just got in an accident. I wasn't thinking about like what do I look like during this. So the cop gives me this look like, what the fuck? So this cop looks at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, your day going good? And this is the first thing he says to me, like kind of like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's like looking at, and like I'm like, okay, yeah, like I just we just got in the accident, so I'm not even thinking.
Yeah.
And everything happens, time goes by, whatever, and we eventually, like an hour later, we're going away from the accident, and we're going to this coffee shop because that's what we were originally going to do, is go get coffee. So we went to go get coffee, and I go into the coffee shop, and the guy in the coffee shop, he stops and looks down at my shirt too, and he's like, what the fuck? Like he gives me a look like, why? And I was like just starting to get out of like accident mode. And I looked down, and I'm wearing a shirt with a huge picture of a handgun on it. In a giant letters around the handgun, it says "Kill all artists." It's like the most.
Good.
It's like the most aggressive shirt I have.
On leaf peeping weekend.
It's such a
All
violent
artists
shirt.
on leaf peeping weekend. I love that.
Like it's not like a funny shirt. Like it's just such an
really
aggressive
good.
shirt
It's
that
funny.
I bought it.
It's funny to us.
Especially when you have the deadpan delivery. Yeah, the guy just crashed into us. The lady seems pretty. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my God.
Exactly.
Can I check your trunk, sir?
Yeah, just a kill all artist shirt. Totally.
I did
casually.
see. I saw one
I
really
feel like
good joke.
working in a hospital. Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. Working in a hospital.
I just feel like working in a hospital has helped me prepare for all of those situations to like be very, very calm. Because like anything can happen. Like we had codes all the time, which is somebody going into cardiac arrest. And then we also had combative patients where we had to like call security. So like at any moment you could be like in a patient's room trying to start an IV, and then you have to go run across the hallway or across down the hallway or into another unit because somebody's like going into cardiac arrest.
Sure. Yeah,
So it's not like, I just feel like this is not that scary,
No.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did see one really funny joke from that Joe Pira's new thing where he's like, it was a really rough couple months after that Dahmer show came out. And I was like, oh, he is literally Jeffrey Dahmer. I was like, he's literally him. I was like, oh no.
That's
like,
really funny.
All of his mannerisms, like that was the whole joke.
Yeah.
It was a really rough
I don't know
couple
who
months.
this is.
It's that comedian who did that show where he like reads you bedtime stories, and he's just like, "Hey there, thanks for coming to my show. I'm gonna."
You've seen him. We watched one of his like bits the other night where he was in a convenience store like trying on hats with a guy, and they were being like, it's just like very normal small town people.
He's like blonde,
Humor.
awkward,
Very
very
subtle.
tall. He's got the glasses. He's like he is Jeffrey Dahmer. I never made that connection.
Okay, tell me again what his name is.
Joe Pera,
Pera.
Pera. And he was like, people are calling me saying Netflix made a show about you. I was like,
Oh no.
Jesus Christ. That's so accurate.
I don't remember the skit with him, but he does look like Dahmer.
Yeah, he talks like him too. It's very, very close to the impression what's his name does of him. Man.
Ooh, I don't know.
So anyway,
Eric says, "Is it the shirt that the teenager wore in the movie She's All That?" It is that shirt.
It is.
It's 100%. That's where I got it from. That I saw that shirt again in the movie, and I was like, "Oh, I'm buying that."
Dave's got a few movie-specific T-shirts. He's also got the classic Stephen King from Monster Squad.
Mm-hmm.
The classic. By the way, all my internal monologue thoughts are in the voice of the guy that reads the Stephen King audiobooks after listening to Stephen King audiobooks since I got back from New Hampshire.
Can you do it? I know him, but
Let me see. Maggie the Hat. What is he? It's like shaky. When he does women's voices, it's really cringy.
yes, it is.
Where he's like, "Well, I don't know what to say to you, little one," she said, pulling her hat to the side of her head. "But you look like a beautiful little morsel." It's like weirdly.
Old lady.
It's like, yeah, but it's like Maggie the Hat's like a 30-year-old woman, but he makes all of them sound like old witches.
Yes, that's my least favorite part of. I don't listen to Stephen King audiobooks
And
like for that reason.
any girl under the age of 20 sounds like a drug victim who's like gonna get like assaulted, and everyone over 20 sounds like a crone who's 80. So like anytime Abra is talking to Dan, it's like, "I don't know, Dan.
Yes.
What are we gonna do? The true knots sure seem dangerous." It's like, what do you do? And then anyone over 20 is, "I don't know what to say about that. These parts sure are dangerous for a pretty little girl." It's like, you're 25. You're 25. The paragraph before this said that you're a very sexy 25-year-old. Why are you talking like a witch?
Yeah.
Oh my
He
God.
always does the slow sentences too. That the other was like, "Dan turned around the corner, and on the board was a word. It said red rum." He does the fast word at the end always. I don't know what it is about him. He's so specific.
Yeah, he's iconic.
Very iconic. But I don't know why there's only two women. Young drug victims who are falling asleep and old crones.
You know what the problem with those audiobooks is? It's that like his voice is a cassette voice to me.
Yeah, you can't listen to it in HD. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what
yes,
I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like how the special effects in old movies work when there's fuzz and grain on the screen, but when you see it in HD, it's shit. Like if you heard him broadcast over the radio, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a spooky audiobook." But you hear it crisp and clear, you're like, "Who the fuck is this Joker? Like what?"
Yeah, what's this stupid shit I'm listening to?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, he's got a old radio cassette voice.
And then he chooses what characters he's gonna lean into super hard, and I don't understand it. He's like, "Tommy Wilkins came down to the shop and he sat on the truck and he said, 'Well, that sure is a truck.' And then Bobby Wilkins came down to the truck and he said, 'This truck's been running for 50 years.' Then Steve Wilkins came down to the truck and he went, 'This here truck's been coming around the bend for 135 odd years now.'" And I'm like, why does this guy get that voice? Like, what? They're all from the same town. Like, what the fuck? Why is this guy that? Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird, the choices he makes. The most awkward, I don't want to do this one. The most awkward is when he reads Dick Halloran's voice and he has to do the jive black man as an old white guy.
Oh, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That is unbelievable. Listening to like a 60-year-old white dude do a jive black man voice and have to say the N-word because Stephen King uses it is unreal. It's unreal.
I didn't even know this was a thing that happened.
Dick Halloran.
I need to hear it.
If anyone listening doesn't know, Dick Halloran is the guy that the Scat Man plays in The Shining. He's the older black man who has The Shining. There's a whole chapter from his perspective where he looks in the mirror and he calls himself a stupid old N-word, and the white guy has to say that in a jive voice as the character, and he's like, "Look at you, so." I'm not gonna do it. I can't. It's too insane. But like, I can't believe that guy got hired to read those audiobooks and he just did that. And it's just like,
That's
hey,
incredible.
on the page.
They should give him a Medal of Honor for his sacrifice.
It's really
Or dying.
unbelievable.
Or dying on the battlefield.
It's
Purple heart.
it's unreal. Any chapter where Dick Halloran shows up, I'm like, here we go. Buckle up and see where this one goes.
Can I hear your best
Huh?
female voice? I want to hear your best female voice. Like, I want to hear you do a better one.
Wait, female voice in general, or female voice from this specific voice actor?
No, not his. I don't want more of his. I want you to do one.
Oh, I don't know. Steve Lichman audiobook version 1 and 2 available now. I don't know. They're on there somewhere.
Did you do girl voices?
Yeah,
I guess
there's
you
a
did
bunch.
Britney's, didn't you?
I did.
There's a bunch.
I did Brittany in the first one.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, wait, I'm forgetting.
There's a Spider Queen. There's a female warrior. There's a
Wow.
female monster hunter.
That's a pretty good one.
Like,
That's a
even
good
if you
voice.
just did Valley Girl voice, even that would be less offensive than, I don't know, Dan. Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
do,
do
like,
like
Dolly-
weird, sexy old movie.
Yeah, don't do like Dolly Parton. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Oh, is that Dolly Parton?
it's like that 70s movie Dolly Parton. Like, I don't know, Bill. Are we gonna make it to that next rain? It's like very soft and it's so dumb.
Yeah, it's
like,
very
Like
70s.
airy?
yeah,
Like very airy sounding?
very airy 70s actressy. Yeah.
breathy.
It's the voice that goes along with the super masculine guy.
Yeah,
protecting her.
exactly.
Like it's that.
Yeah, like a
dynamic.
little, like, it's like a debutante. Like, oh,
If he
Oh,
held
my
his
dear.
nose, if he held his nose, it would be the girl from Little Shop of Horrors. If he just held his nose, it would be like, oh, Seymour. Like, it's right there. It's the same softness without the nasal.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's bad. If he just did a regular girl voice with any accent that isn't that, because that book takes place in the 90s and like the 2000s. It's like no one's talking like that.
in the 90s, you weren't saying, I do declare.
I wasn't saying, wow, I can't believe there's someone else out there like me.
Could you imagine, Dan? Imagine that you get like you are a voice actor. That's what you do. Like, yeah. That's your bread and butter. It's how you make a living. And then Stephen King comes along and it's like, I want you to do the audiobook for my new book. And you're like, holy shit, it's Stephen King. Like, this
And he's
is
like,
the biggest
and it's
shit.
the-
And he's like, and this is
and it's
about
the
the
sequel.
Klan. This is about
Oh,
this is about black people and spirits and the Klan. And you're like, whoa, that's okay. Yeah, I guess. And then he's like, and then you read it and it's just the N-word all the time. And
That's
you're nothing but
basically this.
jive black guys. I know, but what would you do?
I'd say
would you-
Mr. King. Like,
I do declare I am your new audiobook reader.
I'd say, Mr. King, can I have your wishes in writing? Can I get a pardon from the U.S. president? Can you petition on my behalf?
Yeah, can you
Like-
have the
President
president
isn't
sign
black
this?
anymore. He can't pardon you.
It's
You need pardon
un-
from Jerome.
You
It's,
need
like,
all
crazy.
the black people to pardon you.
Like, I'm not like, I encourage everyone listening to listen to it because the voice he does really makes it absolutely insane.
I would just go to black communities before it happened and be like, listen, like, I didn't do that. This is Stephen King's
Because-
doing.
The words on the page are, well, my grandmother called it shining. Those are the words on the page. That's how it's written. And then he comes in and he does the peaks and the valleys and the big swoops. Well, Graham. He's just like, okay, let's not go foghorn leghorn. Like, this is fucking crazy what you're doing right now.
Do you think Stephen King heard him go like, well, this is like, he heard the first white version and went, what the fuck is that? Who's that? Well, that's me. I'm reading the audiobook. Do the voice. What voice?
Do it.
You know, the jive one. Just, oh no.
That voice you just did actually sounds like the narrator of the audiobooks.
Does it?
That was very close. It was the right amount of nasally.
Dan.
And he said,
Dan
you know, the jive one.
Dan Turn.
She said, Maggie the Hat said they called it steam. And this girl was full of steam. It's just, stop it.
That sounded like you were almost trying to be the Joker. Like,
It's
you
very
know,
close to
you
that.
know,
It's very
oh,
close
I
to
got
that.
these.
It's
I'm
extremely
a
close
Joker,
to that.
baby.
The Joker, baby. Man.
Did we tell you that we were saying that jokingly to each other? Dave and I were saying that jokingly. And then the boys picked up on it. And Axel had tried to repeat it, and he's like, I'm joking, baby. That's what he said to me.
I'm joking, baby.
Yeah, he
That's
just
what he
started
said to
saying
me.
that.
And then he looked around and went, I'm a joking baby. I'm a joking baby. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to, like, spoil this book. I finished The Shining. It's so much better than the movie. Oh my god, is it better than the movie? Dr. Sleep is really good, too. Did you ever do Dr. Sleep, Dave?
Yeah.
I'm halfway through that. I'm at the part where he just met Abra, and she's, like, setting mental traps. Like, it's good. I'm surprised how good it is for current Stephen King.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's probably the best thing I've read from, like, post-accident Stephen King. But, like,
I need to get on that one. We never finished listening to it. We just ended up watching the movie. It's
That's another
so
one.
freaking long.
It is.
It is
one of
really
his
good,
longest
but
books.
it's so long.
One of his longest ones. That's another one where you get the job and you're like, I get to read it, and then the first chapter is just the F slur like 6 times while they kill a gay guy. And you're like, well, guess I gotta say this into a microphone for forever.
It took me way too long to figure out what the F slur was.
Oh yeah.
I just went
I'm not
through like a
saying it.
bunch in my head, and I was like, "What? What
You're
is
like, oh
an
my god, I get
F
to narrate
slur?"
this book. Then it's just a bunch of guys killing a gay dude, calling him that while they kill him, and you're like, all right.
I thought in my head I was picturing you saying that they were calling him fucker. You fucker.
Nah. Die, you fucker! We hate you, gay fuckers.
What is this?
You gay fuckers.
What is this? What is the F slur?
From
the
the
cloud
cloud
comes
comes
out.
over. The cloud watched.
Hello, you gay fuckers.
Hey, fuckers, it's me. It, Pennywise the dancing fucker.
I don't think they call him the F slur.
We're all fuckers down here. You'll be a fucker too. Oh my god. Yeah, I'd say the Shining audiobook is better than the movie. Just the story. The story of the book is much better. There's stuff in the
Is it
movie
really?
that never, yeah, there's stuff in the movie that never made sense to me. And then you hear the book and you're like, "Oh, that's what that was supposed to be?" And like it makes sense.
What didn't make sense to you in the movie?
He's gonna spoil.
I'll spoil it, but it's up to chat and you if you want me to, I can. But
I've seen the movie.
yeah, there's like why Jack goes crazy in the book makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Like in the
Oh,
movie,
okay.
he just kind of goes crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, this hotel sure is crazy. I think I want to be a part of it. It's like that's
Yeah.
all it is. In
I
the
guess
book,
I just assumed. I just like filled in too many blanks probably. I just assumed that it was because he was like isolated out there.
no, the book goes way into it, and it makes tons of sense. And he has like a redemption at the end, and you're like, there's like a whole arc with him that is completely cut out.
Yeah,
There's
wait till you get through Doctor Sleep. I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, I'm excited because like
Yeah,
number one,
they've talked
Jack.
about that one a lot. He really liked that one, so I need to listen to that one.
There's a whole scene with a hedge maze with animals carved out of the hedges that is not in the movie at all because they didn't have the special effects to do it, and it's one of the best things in the whole book.
But it is in the
okay.
televised miniseries, if you remember that.
I don't. I never saw it. Is like how bad is the CG?
Well, it has my favorite main character, who was from the TV show Wings.
There you
If you
go.
remember Wings, it was a very, very funny show about people who were in this airport.
In an
waiting
airport?
room. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know where they
Entire show
were.
was in
Just
the
a waiting
airport.
room. They never get on a plane.
In the terminal. That's at the
Crazy.
gate. That's it.
My God, like the Langoliers. There
Yeah,
you
the
go.
Langoliers was one of them.
So stupid. The kid's powers in the book make way more sense too. The movie never tells you who Tony is. He has the imaginary friend Tony that he talks to, and he's like, "Hello, Mrs. Torrance." They never tell you who he is in the movie. In the book, you find out who Tony is.
This is in The Shining?
Yeah. He has like an
Mm.
imaginary friend who gives him psychic visions, and he's called Tony. And his mom's like, "Is Tony talking to you?" And it's like a whole thing, and they never explain it in the film ever.
Interesting.
And in the
I
book,
don't
you
really
meet
remember it that well.
yeah, in the book you meet Tony and you figure out who Tony is. But yeah, it's really, really good. Really, really good. They explain who the lady in the bathtub is. She has a whole story. That's like all the ghosts of it. The guy wearing the dog mask is actually one of the scariest things in the whole book. Like in The Shining, if anyone remembers at the end when everything goes crazy, she runs up the stairs and it just is a snap zoom and it's like dun 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 dun. There's a guy getting a blowjob from a dude in a dog suit, and the guy sits up and looks out the door, and then the dog looks up and looks out the door, and it's like creepy that a dog suit guy is giving another dude a blowjob, but like that's a thing in the book, and like it's one of the scariest things in the whole book. Like the dog like is a character, and they explain who the character is and why he's in a dog suit, and then he chases Danny around and he says the most vulgar shit I've ever heard. It's amazing. I texted Dave the second it happened. I was like, hold on. I was like, this is what this is supposed to be? This is incredible.
Yeah.
I
Much better.
don't think I've listened to that audiobook. Okay, I'll have to listen to that too. When I get my new phone and I actually have storage on my phone, I can get like my audiobooks again and listen to them.
Trigger warning for anyone who was ever hit by a parent, because holy shit, do they lean into Jack's inner dialogue of like why the kid deserves it, and it's like it goes hard.
Really?
Yeah, it's real brutal. It gets
Damn.
nuts towards the end.
My favorite audiobook is when Dave reads to me.
There you go. Have him read The Shining to you.
We used to, well, we haven't had time in like the last 2 years to like sit down and read together at the end of the night.
Kim, she didn't grow up going to like schools where they made you read, pretty much. So she didn't read like any of the classics.
I can't read too good.
I'll tell you what's
They never made me read, so I can't read too good.
I'll tell you what's disappointing is reading Dr. Sleep after reading The Dark Tower, because I know where the psychic vampires come from, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And like Dr. Sleep opens with 9/11, and like if anyone's listening who has read The Dark Tower, you know that Stephen King turned 9/11 into a good thing in his universe, because he's a brave man. So it's like he retroactively showed those terrorists by making it a good thing, and it's like, oh god, what are we doing? Why do you keep going back to
and
this?
then Dr. Doom shed a single tear
Yeah.
for the towers, and we all got to go through whatever that phase was.
Do people care if I spoil The Dark Tower book 5?
I don't know.
Maybe I'll do it.
I bet there's a lot of people who've never made it through to the end of
I'll put
that
it-
series.
I'm gonna put it this way. This is what happens. Okay. Imagine Frodo and Sam are taking the ring to Mount Doom, and then Gandalf comes and he says, "Guys, what if we're all characters in a book written by J.R.R. Tolkien? Let's just go to the real world and ask him what to do." So then Frodo and Sam go talk to J.R.R. Tolkien in England, and he says, "Well, actually, the Battle of the Blitz is going to happen soon. Why don't you just take the ring there, and then when they drop the bombs, the ring will get lost in all the rubble." And they go, "That's really smart, thanks, dude." And then they do that, and then they're like, "Actually, the Battle of the Bulge was a really good thing because it destroyed the Ring of Power." And then they go back to Middle Earth, and they forget that they were characters in a book. It's that. It's that stupid.
The best part of the Dark Tower is when the 3 Stephen Kings show up and you throw the book away.
One Stephen King shows up, and you're like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever read. I hate this. He just destroyed the whole series." And then he ups the ante in the next book, and 3 Stephen Kings show up.
Like outside,
He's
like castle or something. I forget.
Wearing
what
red,
it is.
wearing red robes, holding crystal balls.
It's the worst.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Anyway, no, they don't make you read Stephen King in schools here. I was getting to the point that I was reading to Kim classic books like The Outsiders, like stuff you would read when you were like young.
Yeah, so Dave read that to me and I bawled my eyes out. Like I was listening to an audiobook.
Outsiders is sad.
It's a good book though.
Oh my god.
I fucking
it's
love The
so
Outsiders.
Good. It's
It's
so
unfortunate. The first 4 Dark Tower books are my favorite thing Stephen King has ever written. The 4th Dark Tower book, specifically Wizard and Glass, is my favorite book he's ever written. It's
Wizard and
the
Glass
best
is
book
great.
he's ever written. And then after that, they fall off a cliff so hard. There's a
That's
time
crazy.
There's a time jump. He wrote the first 4 when he was young, and then he had writer's block and he didn't know what to do. And then he, like 20 years later, he got hit by a van and it fucked up his ability to write.
That's not funny. That's
Yeah,
not funny.
It's true. And then he was just like, "I got to finish the Stark Tower series because I might die." So then he rushed it out and he just finished it, and it's dog shit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Mm.
But the first 4 are, ooh, so good. Ooh, so good.
I read them first, and then I made Dan read them. And Dan was like, "These are really good." And then I was like, "Cool." wait till you get to the end. Because I had already suffered through
It got to the
end of
bad
that.
part, and I was like, "I don't want to keep going." And Dave was like, "Keep going." And I was like, "Does it get better?" And Dave was just like, "Keep going." So then I told Dave the end of Red Dead Redemption was incredible, and he had to get to it fast. So then he had to play as the kid's son instead of the main character, and it ruined the game for him. That was my revenge.
Yeah, that was the worst.
I was like, "Nah, dude, it's sick. Trust me. At the end of the game, it opens up a whole new thing." It just... And you were so mad, and I was like, "That's what you're gonna get for making me read Dark Tower Book 7, where he fights Santa Claus with a Harry Potter snitch, you son of a bitch." Go fuck yourself.
Mm.
It was worth reading, though.
Yeah, supposedly the guy that did Haunting a Hill House and Midnight Mass finally got the okay from Stephen King to do a Dark Tower adaptation for Netflix. So
Ooh.
it should be awesome, assuming they change everything after book 4. They have to just make up a new ending and not just make it up. Because you can't put Stephen King in the show as himself. You can't do that. You cannot do it.
You can
just,
if you do it 3 times.
You
That's
just
true.
can't.
No.
It's
You
like,
can't.
whew.
You
I
can't,
want
though.
to see that. I do want to see that.
They better do it.
I hope
I'm
he's.
gonna
I hope he. I
boycott
hope
the
he,
show.
hope he dies before that season happens, and it has to be a CG Stephen King, who looks terrible. And he's like, Roland, you're a character in my book. And like the lips don't match, and it's just a fucking nightmare.
Does he have a brother that can stand in for him? Like how Paul Walker's brother stood in for him?
Bobby King. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's good though.
I can't remember the last book I listened to. Flowers for Algernon was one of them. That's a good book. That's a really good one. That one also made me cry.
It's fantastic at the end when he loses everything.
Oh.
And you're like, man.
Devastated me. Like, you experienced all of that
Mm-hmm.
just to be here.
It's a fantastic ending that makes you want to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently listening to Demon Copperhead.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty good so far.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Dave. Is Blood Meridian a reading book or an audiobook book?
Reading book.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
110%.
Okay, that's my next book. But I wasn't sure if I could get away with the audiobook.
I would never wish this voice on anybody. I would never.
That's the voice?
I would never want to read a book that sounds like this.
It's a John Denver audiobook?
Fucking sucks.
Fucking awesome.
That voice fucking sucks.
Well,
If anybody's listening to the Blood Meridian, that's exactly what that guy sounds like.
your line looks like a sort of Blood Meridian to me.
Yeah, dude, it's bad.
Good lord.
It's a bad one.
I'm really liking where Dr. Sleep is going. I don't know what's gonna happen with all the Overlook stuff, but I'm really enjoying the grown-up Danny Torrance stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's also funny to know the towns that he's in, because it's all in New Hampshire, in like very specific places that we've been, and I'm like, oh, I know that. I know that exact street. Like, that's so funny.
One of my favorite funny books that isn't actually supposed to be funny is Killing Floor, Jack Reacher, book 1. I've listened to that one. I just laugh. I love it. I love how corny it is. I love I don't know, there's the writing and it's very funny.
What you call a man's book.
Yeah, yes. Men's fiction.
Men's fiction. That is the way to describe it. Men's fiction. Yes.
Roadside Picnic is a good one. It's a great one. It's based that movie Stalker is based off of that.
Any of the Destroyer novels. Any of them. There's like 40.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else I've actually listened to that was good. The Stand audiobook's alright, but you're gonna get the voice.
Right.
And it's like 1,000 hours. The Graveyard Book
Were
is
they
a good
the same-
audiobook.
Were they the same ones who were narrating it? That dude?
I think so.
Okay.
There's a few different versions. There's one guy who I
kinda
think
know.
did all of his books, and then there's like later editions.
Hmm.
That one weird guy I think did all of his books at one point. It's also funny listening to the adult men narrate the little kid chapters when the little kids describe uncomfortable sexual things. It's a grown man, and he's like, there was something uncomfortable about the way the figures rolled on the clock. To Danny, it looked like they were kissing pee-pees. He thought it was gross. It's like...
Oh my god.
It's so good. It's so dumb. I love it.
I like that.
He thought it was gross. He does like a little small kid, little small voice for those. I fucking hate it.
It feels like
Yeah.
that feels like a anime voice, or like a you're trying to be cute voice.
All he knew was that when Mommy put her hands down between her legs, she didn't want him looking inside her head. That was something meant only for her. So Danny didn't look. It's like, stop it, dude.
Hearing an adult voice say mommy like that is so gross.
It's so bad.
Hearing an adult voice try to sound young and just say mommy
Mammy.
is so gross.
What's worse is every time he says daddy to Jack, it's so funny.
What? What does he do?
Or when he yells out to Dick, those scenes are great too, because he goes, Dick, I need Dick. Dick, come! I need... That's literally, like, I wrote it down. It was so funny.
That's so funny.
Immature.
It's great.
There was a question in the chat from a bit ago, and it was somebody asking if we had any advice for, like, voice acting stuff. And I just thought it was funny because I was like, what do we know?
I mean,
We just talk like this.
yeah, it's like, I don't know.
Sorry, what was the question?
Voice acting.
It's
What about
way
it?
easier if you have somebody else to do it as a springboard with. Because, like, I can do a voice, and Dave's like, I think it's this. Then I'm like, I think it's higher pitch. And, like, we'll go back and forth till we find it. It's way easier to do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of. I mean, it just depends if you're trying to be serious or not.
Yeah.
Really, because I feel like it's easy to do like silly voices.
It's the same advice that the guy who did all the new art for the new Doom games gives about the monsters. Where, like, get in the pose. Like, if you can get in the pose of the thing, you can find the voice real easy. If it's like a hunched up little old man, it's like, you know, you're gonna find that voice real fast.
Yeah. And sometimes it helps
Someone
just to
had
be
asked a question.
isolated. If you're just like completely isolated, you can work on a voice and just do it over and over again and like record yourself.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
What was the question?
The question was for Dave about why he has so many duplicate brushes.
I don't really. These are all just different brushes.
That was like a while ago. I saw it and I forgot to say something.
Miss Stella says, I got the audiobook like 30 years ago and I don't know how to download it anymore. Please help. I want to re-listen. I mean, if you have the Sundial link, you should be able to just download it from that.
I don't know. Sundial. I wonder if that even is still active.
I don't
'cause
know.
We switched over.
Yeah.
That's why. It's been years.
Yeah, it's been like 6 years.
If you need help with that, we can
Yeah.
send you to another download page.
For
'Cause
sure.
We have another one. We were just doing everything kind of ass backwards with that delivery system because we didn't know any better for like digital deliverables. And honestly, like in the time that we had started doing that to now, there's way better services.
Yeah, way better.
Anyway, yeah, if you just sit with voices for a while, I feel like you can figure them out. Like I would say if there's a voice you want to do, like or a range you're trying to hit, like try and find something comparable. I honestly think it's easier to go to like extremes and then pull back. Like I feel like that, at least for
sure.
me, like whenever we do it, like I was trying to do Kermit for my kids, and like Kermit's easy. You know, like, let me try and do it.
Hello.
Hey!
Hey, it's me, Kermit the Frog.
It's like not too hard. You just go in like the back of your throat. Not that that's good, but like you do that, and then you can like get to other voices from there. So it's like if we're doing Steve, and the joke is that like there's a frog character, but it's not Kermit. You just know that like, oh, audibly everybody relates Kermit to frogs.
Right.
So a quick shortcut to making this voice would be not Kermit, but something like similar to that affect or whatever. And then you just kind of find some more subtle version of it or just a weirder version of it. You just kind of like push and pull your voice.
Yeah.
But I feel
like
like that's so much easier.
Dracula's really flamboyant, so it's like who's the most flamboyant character we've ever seen, and it's either James from Pokemon or it's Dr. Orpheus from the Venture Brothers. So it's somewhere between those two.
Yeah, like it helps to kind of give yourself like a, at least for us, because we don't do that for like work or nothing. It's just whenever we do it, we just do it. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's easier for me to relate to other things first and then find the way back there. Like if I can think of another character that's similar and hear the voice in my head, then I can get back to that voice. And then there's ones that we just do all the time that we've memorized. But yeah.
Can I hear a little Drac?
Stephen, don't you know girls these days are wet and wild, ready to roll? It's like very, very breathy and very flamboyant.
I really like that it's so quick for you to. You don't even have to find it.
Oh yeah, it's just all the worst
Whatever
things
would we
you could
have
ever
to
hear.
find?
Just coming
Two
back
things
to it.
I've discovered in my isolation, Stephen, is that I love BBWs and BBQ.
And a little bit of BBL.
Finger looking good, as they say, my friend. Yeah, it's just, yeah. The biggest thing with
It's funny
Dracula is
though, 'cause-
everyone's like, why doesn't he have an accent? And I'm like, because I don't want him to have one. It's
Well,
way
This must
funnier.
be those loose women I've heard so much about.
Yeah.
A little like transatlantic. A little bit of that, like, you know, like the Audrey Hepburn type of speech. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very like upper class 60s, like fast,
Yeah,
flamboyant,
yeah.
flashy.
I like it. But once you hear, when you hear somebody, when you say that it sounds like James, is that what
Yeah.
you said?
Yeah.
I feel like I can't unhear it. Like that's all I hear.
It's if you think
You always
of
do that.
if you think of a guy version of a woman who would say, I'd never be caught dead shopping at so-and-so store, it's very much that. It's like, I'd never be caught dead shopping at Macy's. Oh. It's like, it's very like, I'm too good for this, but also I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah,
It's so
I'm a
funny.
Neiman Marcus girl
Yeah.
myself.
I'm a Bloomies.
Bloomies. It's very similar in a different way to what's his name and What We Do in the Shadows. It's the same level of flamboyant, but without the manly tone.
York
New York
City.
New
City.
York City. Hello, my
Hello,
darling. It's like he does like the very like it's deeper.
Mhm.
Sex, sex, sex. All I want is sex. It's like very, it's very similar in the flamboyant and the rhythm.
Dave and I just go around sometimes, just go and we just say
New York.
New
City.
York City. Like always do it all the time. That's our
amazing.
favorite line.
It's the best delivery of any line.
Daytona.
It's also
Back in Daytona.
it's also weird that it comes up in a conversation a lot because our kids are like every city we go to, they're like, "Is this New York City?"
I love when he runs
And
out
then
of
we
breath.
always,
Go ahead.
well, after they ask us that, we always just go. We just always respond to them in that voice. We go,
New
"No,
York
this isn't
City.
New York City,"
So good.
because we get asked so many times. It's the only way to deal with it.
I love when he runs out of breath, but he keeps going and he starts to sound like David Bowie.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hello, my darling. I see that things are going very well." It's like trails off. It's, everything that guy does is just his voice is just it's just unbelievably good.
It's so
He's
good.
Very good. Yeah, the Kermit the Frog. Then you can just do Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like I need an example. I want to hear it.
Lobsters in a lot of ways are very similar to people in that they both feel sadness and depression. we internalize our struggle, and when you lose, you just want to sometimes just go off and goddamn be alone, you know?
Oh my God.
Something like that.
It's pretty good.
That
Can you
was
st-
really good.
Can you start crying as Jordan?
He throws in weird swears when he talks about certain struggles.
You gotta
It's
say-
weird. He's like,
The whole
You know
thing's
that-
bloody awful. Bloody
You know
is in
that-
there a lot.
I'm trying to find it. My voice is a little too deep.
Start
that-
crying about how men aren't
That
being
fight
supported.
is, that fight's bloody awful. It's bloody awful what it does to young men. And you know men aren't meant to lose that many battles. It's a bloody awful thing what they've done. It's
Yeah, that's
I can't do the crying with it. It's too much. I lose it if I do the crying.
The crying's the funniest one.
And you know, it's always that. You say you go in the cave like the hero and you slay the dragon. What they don't tell you is the dragon is life. And you know, that's a suicide metaphor. That's what that is. And it's bloody awful. Yeah, I don't know.
It's so good, Dan.
Oh.
That should be a character in the book.
We did have a dragon based on him coming up if we keep it. I don't know. He did a lot of dumb
probably
shit
won't. We
between
probably won't
us writing it
anymore.
and now. Yeah, he used to
We
be.
thought it would be funny.
It was funny before all the stuff. Like we wrote it in 2015. A lot's happened, but
Yeah.
Can you do Ben Shapiro?
the problem with the left. No, I don't know if I can talk fast enough to do it.
Yeah, I feel like I'd have to record myself to do that.
As
I
a
think I
devout
could
Jewish man,
get
I cannot
nasal.
go to your gay wedding. I just can't go to your gay wedding. I am okay that you're gay. God bless you. You want to do this is America. You can make your own choices. But as a gay man, I cannot go to your. I cannot participate in that event because to me it's sacrilege and it is a sin.
Have
If
you
want
looked
to
at
sin, it's your decision.
Dan?
I think a little more nasally.
Yeah, more nasally.
Mhm.
If you want to sin, if you want to sin, that's your decision. You're an adult man. You do what you want to do. This is America. God bless. But I will not participate as a Jewish adult in that because I see it as sin. It's just too fast.
Have you seen pictures of him with his like goatee thing that he has?
No, he has a goatee.
It's so funny, dude. The picture that he had, like, he has the face now, like his goat. Like nobody says this. I don't know why nobody. Maybe they do, and I just don't see it. But he has the face of a toddler who ate a bunch of pudding and got it all over around their mouth. Like that's all his goatee looks like. It's so
When did he get
fucking
a
funny.
goatee?
I don't know. The big boy camp.
Supposedly,
Where's the picture?
It's just what he looks like now. He just looks like somebody. It's like a toddler that ate a bunch of pudding, and it got all over his face. It's literally all it looks like. It's so
Now.
funny.
Now, I hate his voice so much.
Just watch, try and find his YouTube channel and just look at any recent pictures of him from that.
Holy
just-
What's his
shit!
YouTube channel?
You're right.
Yeah, he's got
Oh
pudding face.
no!
Is it just his name?
I think it's his news thing.
What is that?
This is the world we live in, and this is my goatee. I hear what some
Yeah.
people say. They say
Oh,
you can't trust Ben Shapiro. He looks like a little boy with pudding all over his face.
It also looks like the hobo goatee that they do on little kids.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. That's exactly what it looks
know-
like. It looks like the little kid.
That is?
Oh my god, that's
You know
accurate.
what that is?
That's just shoe polish, isn't it?
No, it's coffee grounds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
what
That's
you
funny.
nailed that.
yeah,
It
My
looked
aunt told me.
exactly like that.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Nobody talks about
It's not pudding. It's a little kid hobo beard for Halloween. That is what it is.
Absolutely, it is.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Supposedly Ben Shapiro's gonna argue with Destiny in 2 weeks, so that's going to be the hardest thing to listen to in the history of the internet. It's going to be and then it's just going to be two frequencies that are the same frequencies talking at the same speed. It's going to be indecipherable.
I can't even imagine wanting to hear that.
Ooh, it's going to be... It might cancel each other out. It might just be a flat sine wave. Just the audio might just balance perfectly. But yeah, anyway, that's how you do voices. Just make fun of stuff.
Well, you were doing another voice the other day, Juicy. It was like you were doing another voice that was really good, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. I feel like I do voices all the time.
Was it Matsumoto from The Last Samurai?
Yeah. What's that? It was that, huh?
I don't know. We do that one all the time. They're all beautiful.
I want to do the child emperor with the goatee, with the hobo goatee. Last
Tell
time.
me how he died. It's the quietest fucking thing ever.
And then Tom Cruise going, "No, you fucking moron! I'm gonna tell you how you lived."
I will tell you how he lived.
And the emperor goes, "You're right, Tom. You're
You're
better
right.
than all the
That's what I
agents."
That's what I should have asked. My English isn't so good
Shit,
because I just learned it.
shit, Tom. You're right.
Shit.
We watched Top Gun. The movie fucking ruled.
Oh my god, dude!
Top Gun's awesome. You just watched it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
No,
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's dope.
the like most recent one.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
god, it was so good. I was laughing, I was crying.
Ready for the best part?
Tom
was the
Cruise,
bad-
But
Who is the bad guy?
faceless enemy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like how they get through to the end of that whole movie and they never have to tell you who the enemy is.
I didn't even think about it.
They never tell you any. They never name a country. They just get you so invested in the characters that you don't even think about it.
That's
so they
so
will-
funny.
A worldwide box office hit because no one's
Well,
the bad guy.
The enemy was Tom Cruise's missteps as a
As a father figure.
father.
So, yeah, to
So-
Goose's son.
That's the enemy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
His
was
ability to
telling
grow up.
Dave, I was like, this is like such a pipe dream. Like people who get divorced later in life and they're just like single and like they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna find somebody like this. This like single mom who's super fun, who runs a bar,
Mhm.
who is also hot somehow, and owns a Porsche.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just waiting until I'm 60 and ripped. I'm gonna find my dream girl.
You're gonna find that girl.
I'm doing the TC play. That's what it is.
Yeah, that. Oh my god.
I also liked that they didn't make any comments about the female pilots being female ever. They were just
yeah.
there and they were female pilots. There was no character who was like, let's see how well you can spin your wings, little girl. Like they didn't do any of that. None of it. None of it.
Yeah, I hate that. I
was like,
hate
this
that
is
stuff.
great. These characters are just characters and this movie's good. The action's good. You're invested. Fucking Val Kilmer is terrifying. Here it is.
He's
There
like
it is.
dying in real life.
Yes, I'm like, here, we're just gonna make you
Is
look
he
at
really?
that. Yeah,
Yeah, he's fucked up.
yeah.
What's going on with him? Now I feel horrible. I didn't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
just laughing at.
It's something bad.
I can't remember what happened to him, but it was really bad. I'm not like a huge Val
Mm.
Kilmer head.
No, you're
Is
not up to
anybody?
date in all things Val Kilmer.
I only followed his music career. That was it. You
He
remember
had
that?
a music career.
Yes, he did.
Where he was
No
like,
way.
"Oh, little girl," or whatever that thing was.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
It was a thing.
unbelievable. It was on Opie and Anthony back in the day. They were making fun of him.
The sad thing about
Oh,
Val Kilmer
God.
dying is that when he eventually dies, he's going to have a tombstone, and everybody's going to go to it with stuff from Tombstone.
Oh,
It's true.
It's gonna happen.
oh my god.
Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry.
I love the dumb reels that pop up on Instagram of like grown men who don't understand why movies are good talking about the lines that they stuck with. Like, my favorite line in any movie ever is this line from Tombstone where he says, "Damn, Doc, why'd you come all the way down here? He's fighting those guys down at the river. Hell, I got..." And he goes, "He's Wyatt Earp's my friend." And he goes, "Hell, I got lots of friends. I wouldn't do that." And then Doc Holliday looks at him and he goes, "I don't." And then you get it right there that's a real friendship. It's the only guy in the world Doc Holliday would do that for. And I just never forgot that. And I'm like, that, what? You're on a podcast talking about that line? Like, what?
It's the same energy I was talking about with the kids.
Yes.
The story in this game's actually so it's good. It's good like a book.
I get chills
Sad
every time.
energy.
He looks at the camera and he says, "You tell the Cowboys hell's coming, and I am also coming with them." I get chills down my spine.
It's like the first time I saw Hell Comes to Frogtown.
The best.
It stuck with me, all those lines.
I like how Tombstone and Wyatt Earp came out at like the exact same time, and they're both movies about the same thing, and like I can't really tell them apart.
Oh yeah.
It's really weird. Like, Wyatt Earp's like a real movie and Tombstone's full of memes, but like they're both good.
Yeah, that happens all the time. There's like so many movies like that that just come out at
Yeah.
the same exact time, and you're like, I don't know. Like Dante's Peak and Volcano. Like who
What the fuck?
did that?
Like, why?
Can you imagine being like a month into filming Dante's Peak, and then somebody's like, "Do you know that studio like right there across the lot's making a movie called Volcano?"
Can you imagine being on
It's
the
like, well,
OK
we'll
Corral?
just keep doing it.
Can you imagine being at the OK Corral with Val Kilmer and fucking what's his name, and then a bunch of other guys wearing cowboy suits show up with a film crew to also shoot at the OK Corral, and you're like, wait a minute, wait, is
Yeah, I'm
that
trying to
Dances
think
with
of-
Wolves?
I'm trying to think of all the instances that's happened. It's happened so many times though.
It's happened a lot.
I forget what they call that, but that's
Parallel thinking.
yeah, but it's like the same sort of thing that happens with like any idea that you have. If you don't do that idea when you think about it, like don't wait until you're skilled enough to do it. It's like just start making it, because chances are if that idea is any good, I bet a lot of people came up with it pretty close to when you came up with it, because it was
Well, it's
something
like-
to do with like what everybody's kind of watching and taking in.
It's like when all of a sudden everybody did Viking stuff all at the same time. It was like everything was Vikings in the same year.
Right.
Just
I mean, like,
coincidentally, Assassin's Creed, God of War, just everything was Vikings.
right. And it's like partially because one of them does it. Like sometimes that's the case, but a
Deep
lot of
Impact.
times it's not that. A lot of times it's just they happen to be making it at the same time.
hmm Yeah, Deep Impact, Armageddon. Yeah.
Do we like Back to the Future? Is the third movie any good?
The
It's
first
fine.
one's a solid movie. The second one's like funny. The third one's like super campy.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
I think I've only seen the first one.
The first one's like a solid like time loop movie. The second one gets like silly, and the third one gets like extremely silly.
Can
Like
we do
silly in a
Meatball?
not good way, or silly in a like it's
Silly
gonna have
in,
me
like,
giggling the whole time.
Like your suspension of disbelief is kind of gone when the doc is like, "We're in the 1800s, Marty. The only thing that'll go fast enough to make us go back to the future is a train. We have to make a time train." And you're like, "Okay, all right, I get it. This is the movie." Like,
It's
That's
silly
your
in like
ancestor.
a it's silly
that's
in
your
a little
ancestor,
kid
Billy
way.
the Kid.
It's like
Really?
fun, silly. Like it's
Yeah.
very little kid energy.
It feels like if
I
they
like it.
Back to the Future 3 honestly feels like if they made a Back to the Future TV show, like the Hercules TV show, but it's a film for some reason. It feels like it has the budget and like script of a TV show. Like on this episode, they go back to the Old West, and it's like all the stock sets you've seen 1,000 times and a million things.
Well, it's the same. It's the same
Okay.
kind of thing. That's. I mean, obviously, Back to the Future trilogy is much better than this. But
Yeah.
the Ninja Turtle movies, like the original Ninja Turtle movies, they had like the first one was like really cool. It had like a ton of style to it. It was, it was like interesting just to have like real turtles and take it kind of seriously with some lighthearted stuff. And then it was, a hit. So the second movie, they just went way over the top with the silly, and it just became like a silly fun movie, and the gritty part of the first one's gone. And then the third movie's just fucking nuts because they go back in time to ancient Japan and they become samurai Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, there was a weird
And it just becomes a full-on cartoon.
in the 80s
How
and
crazy!
90s.
I've never seen these.
Oh, Turtles 3 is a bad movie.
Yeah.
There's a weird phenomenon in the 80s and 90s where if something was like a hit that was unexpected, the studio would fund a movie. It would be an unexpected hit, and then after it was a hit, all the suits would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, that's a hit, and we didn't even try to make it a hit. If we make a sequel, we can try to make the sequel a hit, and then it'll be even bigger." And then it bombs, and they make a bunch of toys out of it, and they cash cow the sequel, and they like overdo it. And then they're like, well, it's still got some popularity. We might as well rush out a third one just to like cash it out. And then the third one kills it. That happened to like countless franchises where it's like number one's good, number two is not good. Like Gremlins, like there's just a bunch. Except Gremlins 2 is actually sick, but
Yeah.
like in like a super dumb way. It's like it goes from like you could believe this happens in a small town to like we're in a future tower with AI controlling the whole building and rocket boots. And you're like, okay, this is the sequel? Like, okay.
That sounds good to me.
But yeah, in the chat, someone was saying, Nemanja, yeah, Back to the Future 1 has like great shots. It's like it's a super iconic movie. It's got tons of great scenes, awesome soundtrack. Really, like, Rick and Morty wouldn't exist without it. It's literally Rick and Morty's just making fun of that first movie. That's all it is. Like it's super popular movie. Lots of iconic stuff. Probably the best lightning effects in anything.
All right, we're probably gonna go in the next couple minutes, but
Talk about the movie. What is it? Let Me In.
did we
Let
talk
me-
about it?
Yeah. Did we just talk to Dan about it, or did we talk about it on the stream?
I don't know. Why did you want to talk about it?
I don't know. Just want to put it out there.
The best
That's
thing
good.
about Back to the Future 1 is when Marty goes back in time and he doesn't know how to play anything on the guitar except rock and roll, but it's the 50s. So he plays rock and roll, and then all the black guys on stage are like, that sounds pretty cool. And then it turns out that a white guy made rock and roll, not black guys. They learned it from Marty McFly.
That's very funny.
Really had to put that in. What's the line when he's holding up the telephone? Who does he call? He calls like a famous, like one of the creators of rock and roll, and he's like, "Hey cousin, you gotta hear this." And he like holds the phone up to Marty playing the guitar.
Yeah.
They're like, come on, guys.
Yeah, Dan didn't see whatever it is. Talk to me.
Yeah, Chuck Berry.
Oh,
That's
good.
who it is.
It's so good. Talk to Me was like a scary movie. I won't give it away. I don't want to spoil it, but it was so good.
It was like a great, like, normal horror movie, which I liked. It was like a
Yeah,
very
it
like
was-
teenage horror movie.
It's in like
Excited.
it's an A24 film, right?
Yeah. What other movie were you talking about? Did you say that one?
Yeah. Talk to Me.
Talk to me. Right.
Talk to Me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
said
good.
let me in.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like what are you talking about. I was like,
Sorry,
let me
that's
in.
what.
Man.
Yeah, talk to me. That was so good.
I'm very excited for Halloween.
It's coming up.
And our new hood.
Gonna be great. Kim, have you seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, I was actually Roger Rabbit for Halloween. That was my first Halloween costume that I remember.
Thank goodness.
Why?
I don't know why. Something about Back to the Future made me think of it.
That's funny. Why, thank goodness.
Because it's such a good movie. It's such a good movie.
It's really good. Isn't it funny that I was Roger Rabbit and then just recently there's been like an influx of all the Jessica Rabbit costumes?
You should be Roger Rabbit again, and Dave should be Baby Herman. You should go out together. Great.
That'd be good. I bet my parents have pictures of me somewhere as Roger Rabbit. It was funny too because I had red pants and they were like just plastic. So I just basically had to put like a plastic
I
tablecloth
hated those.
over top of my legs, over
Those-
top of like winter clothes.
All of those Halloween costumes that were just like plastic clothes were just so crazy. I remember wearing those and just like sweating my ass off.
Oh, here's a good question.
Or
Or
if
the
it's cold
magic.
on Halloween because it always snowed. It always snowed on Halloween over here. We'd always have to be wearing like winter clothes, and we were always so bummed because you don't want to cover your costume, you know.
No.
Yeah.
But those plastic clothes just fit on top of like my snowsuit, so I just look like a puffy, like plastic Roger Rabbit.
Here's a
Terrible
good here's a good question to end on from Dementia. Okay, guys, I'm not into horror movies, but what do you expect out of a good horror movie? I feel like there's a few ways you can go, but what do you guys think?
I like it depends on what you mean by good because there's a bunch of different kind of classifications for that. Like I made the point of saying like that Talk to Me is good for like a teen kind of horror movie. It has like that that very like poppy feel. Like it feels like not like a blockbuster in the horror movie sense of like what's Scream, what's like, you know, Saw
like
or
kind of
whatever.
arty.
A little bit, but I feel
A
like
little
it's not like The Witch and it's not like Hereditary where they're trying to be very stylish. It's a little different than that, but it has a similar
Which
feel.
those are also good, but for different reasons.
I think there's three ways you can go. I think you can do something like Haunting a Hill House where you really get invested in the characters and it's more about caring about what happens to them because they really develop them. Because Haunting a Hill House never explains what's going on, and it doesn't need to because you're so into the characters by the time you get to the end that you only care what's going to happen to them. So you can go the character development route. You can go the visuals route, where if you think of something really creepy that hasn't been seen, a good version of that is like The Ritual. It's a movie called The Ritual that invents a really cool monster that's in the woods that doesn't look like most movie monsters. And like,
yeah, I like that one.
yeah, like you can come up with a really cool visual that's just creepy and make the whole movie about that. Or you can make the movie about situations that the viewer imagines themselves being in that are scary, like the Saw movies or something, where it's like, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Like,
or even the way Black Mirror does that. Like Black
Yeah.
Mirror very much like puts you into the situation and you're like
social,
ooh.
yeah, like social
Like the
and
discomfort.
existential stuff on Black Mirror, like what is consciousness and shit that just makes your skin kind of crawl, like those kind of things.
Yeah, discomfort where you're like,
I think-
oh man, that's yucky.
I think those are the three real routes. Make it character focused, make it visual focused, or make it like experience focused, where you're like, ugh. And you can mix and match and combine a few of those. Like Midnight Mass was a really good job of like, okay, we have a creature. I personally thought the creature sucked. I thought it was the worst part of the show, but it was really character focused. Like the characters were great, but also here's a vampire. And it's
My
like, okay.
My favorite type of horror is the character stuff, and I don't feel like you can really do that too well. Like,
Yeah.
because it's easy. Like when I was saying about like classification, because it's like if you're doing a horror-ish thing for kids, then you do the monster. It's like Chucky or it's Freddy or Jason or something like that. It's very much like a, it's like it's appealing to that of like I'm scared of the dark, and that's enough. Like I'm scared of this. But like when you get older, that there's horror movies for that audience of like, now I care about my family, and like what would it be like if something happened in the Amityville horror situation. Like that's scary. And then you know what I mean, it's like the more monster heavy it is, the younger it skews, and like the more character focused it is, the older it skews. And then there's like the middle ground of that, which I think is like Talk to Me. But then there's like the teen, like young Freddy audience that's like, oh, that's scary too. But then like the psychological horror stuff is also
There's like
really good.
The reason, I think Dave feels the same way, the reason I love Stephen King's horror stuff the most is because for some reason, I don't know why other authors can't do this, the way he writes how kids think is so accurate at how it feels being a kid. All of them, like It, The Shining, all of them. The one that me and Dave always go back to, there's a scene in a book called The Tommyknockers where a kid, I won't spoil what happens, but he accidentally hurts his younger brother. And the way that it, from the kid's perspective, processes the guilt of having hurt your younger brother, and he doesn't know what to do with the feelings, and it's like disgusting. And like the way he writes it makes you remember how that felt, being like ashamed of yourself as a kid. And it's so accurate to how kids think. It's like almost hard to read.
Yeah, I honestly think horror, like for me now, and just I was such a huge horror fan when I was a kid, that I think like my favorite way to take that stuff in isn't even in a movie, it's books. Like books, like I can make something scarier in my head than you could show me on screen because it's personal to you and like what you think is scary, like you fill in those blanks. So I feel like it's very difficult to do that in film. Like Alien did it really well, of like, oh yeah, like that's just enough to scare me, that thing that's in the shadow. Like there's certain like stuff that does that super well, but yeah.
I'm not trashing The Shining. It's just that in the movie's great, it's good, but like when you read the book, it's like by the end of that book, you feel like you are all of the characters and you understand what all of them are doing, and they all make sense, and you empathize with all of them, even the bad ones. And it's like when the stakes are that high and you empathize with every single chess piece on the board, but you know not all of them are going to make it, that's really good. That's crazy. And like that can't happen in a movie. It doesn't happen in like anything. But all of his books with POV chapters where you get to like be the character, and by the end of the book you like completely understand them, is like, it's just so satisfying. But yeah, no movie could achieve that.
Yeah, it's really hard to find like a really good horror movie. Like I like certain horror movies for different reasons. Like The Witch is really good for the atmosphere and just like the gross feeling of it all. And when you finally see like the witch manipulating characters in the movie, you're like, oh, gross. Like there's a lot of that sort of like under the skin, like, I don't know, just discomfort that comes from that versus like an in your face, like,
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
like Freddy pulling you into the TV. Where it's like kind of funny.
It's like haunted house horror where it's fun to be scared because it's so silly.
Yeah, like haunted house horror is like
Freddy.
It's very like wrestling fan vibes.
Yeah.
Like if you're into WWE, then you also like, creep
like
week at the stadium.
In Stephen King books, you don't want anyone to die because you love all the characters. In Freddy movies, you want everyone to die and you want to see how Freddy does it. That's like why you're there. You're like,
fuck yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Fight Jason.
Yeah.
And he's gonna fight Jason.
His hands are gonna be needles. He's gonna stick the needles in.
Wanna get
He's gonna
high.
say, someday, wanna get high.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so sick.
It's just-
The little kid voice again. It's actually a really good movie, dude. Deals with drug addiction, deals with fame and TV.
it's actually pretty fucking scary.
The kid in the wheels. Yeah, there you go.
No, like it's actually fucking nuts what they do in that
Actually-
movie.
At the end of that movie, you're gonna be like, "What? What did I just
Like
watch?
it's gonna fuck you up.
What did I just watch? I gotta watch
Yeah.
that. What did I just see?
Holy shit. That just happened. That just
Anyway,
happened. Magic's just hanging out of my jeans on the couch.
just happened.
Oh shit. It's Freddy.
Somewhere out there, a person has a tattoo of Freddy on their penis. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I don't need to Google it. I just know it.
It's just the long Freddy from the
Oh,
Eat My
yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Bye everyone.
We'll see you all later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.